It's the International Soccer Preview. We are Soccerphiles Canada. Welcome to Series 30, looking at the players of the 2025 Gold Cup. This episode is looking at the players of Canada. Part 1, the candidates. Here we go. 3, the closing section. So we want to welcome new listeners to Section 3 here because we're also releasing a short version of Part 1 on Canada's players, which will just be made up of Section 3. So new listeners, and the full version, we introduced the candidates and their likelihood of making the squad. And we also summarized who had been occupying each position over the recent period. So for those just listening to the short version, you can go to the full version if you want those details and the reasons for our predictions here. And for those who have listened, this is just a summary. But we do want to point out again that we're not making predictions as to who will be the starters. That will be the business of Part 2. So let's go back over the list and summarize. We have Jesse March as our manager since May of 2024. So just before the Copa America, he came in, managed the 2 pre-Copa America friendlies, and has been manager since then. Goalkeepers, we have a definite candidate in Dane St. Clair, a likely candidate in Maxime Crepeau, and possible candidates Tom McGill and Jonathan Sirois. We're really not going to mention players below that level. We do have possible but unlikely and seemingly off the squad players, but unless we have a reason, we won't mention them. In this case, we do have a reason because we have basically retiring veteran Milan Borjan, who has been the goalie for Canada for quite a while, but now seems to be off the squad. For defenders, we created a category of versatile defenders, and we have Richard Larea in that. So he's kind of all over, not just the defense, but the field. And Richie Larea is a definite candidate, but an injury concern, which we'll talk about after this section. Central defenders, we have 2 definite candidates, Moise Bombito and Derek Cornelius. 2 likely candidates in Kamal Miller and Joe Waterman, and then 2 possible candidates, Jamie Knight-Lebel and Luc de Fougerolles, and then actually 5 players in categories below that, which we will bring back into the picture if they make the final squad. But here too, we have basically retiring veteran Stephen Vittoria, which we want to mention. Okay, left backs. Alphonso Davies is in the left back position during this period. Well, he's a definite candidate. Of course, we would choose him, but he's an injury. Well, basically, he will be out because of injury. Again, something we'll cover in the next section. No candidates at the likely level for left back, but 2 possible candidates, Sam Adekugbe and Zorhan Basson. So a little thin over there, especially since Sam Adekugbe had a long injury himself. Over on the right, though, it's as clear as a bell. Alistair Johnson is the starter. The only concern there is that there are no backup players were he to get injured. So it would be out of position player, probably Richard Larea as the backup. Okay, and that is it for the defense. For midfielders, we also have a versatile midfielder. So we find Jonathan Osorio kind of all over the field in this period, and he is a likely candidate to make the final squad. Defensive midfielder, we have a definite candidate, Stephen Eustachio, and a likely candidate in Nico Segur. Also possible candidate, Samuel Piat. Central midfielders, there are 2 definite candidates there, Ismail Kone and Matthew Chaunier, but no categories at the no players at the likely or possible category. Left midfielders and right midfielders, we do have a couple of players coded as left midfielders, but we basically move them elsewhere because these positions are not used that much. So we move on to the attacking midfield, and we begin with the left attackers. And there we have Jacob Schaffelberg as a definite candidate, and Liam Miller, who would be a definite candidate. We have him in the definite category, but he's an injury concern also. And then in the possible category, Junior Hoylett. Over to the right attacking side of the field, we have definite candidate Ali Ahmed, actually coded as a left midfielder, but we think that's wrong, and we'll probably change that. But he is a versatile player, Ali Ahmed. Definite candidate, and likely candidate Tajon Buchanan there. Okay, let's go to central attackers. No one in that position, but the player or midfielder we talked about at the beginning, Jonathan Osorio, is actually coded as a central attacking midfielder. And then with forwards, holy cow, Canada is blessed with forwards, maybe for the first time in our history. And we have three definite candidates, Jonathan David, Kyle Larin, and Tani Oluwaseyi. We have no candidates at the likely level, but three candidates at the possible level. Four candidates, Theo Bair, Daniel Jebison, Jason Russell-Rowe, and Promise David. And then beyond that, we have six players at the possible but unlikely level who we can probably bring in if needed. So that is a review of the candidates. Let's move on to our second order of business here, and that is a review of injuries. So we have Sam Adekugbe. He had been out with a knee and a calf injury for most of 2024. He actually did return to the bench in the fall of 2024, but March 2025 found him out again with a hamstring injury, Sam Adekugbe. However, it was relatively short, just from March 9th to April 20th, so that's pretty light for a hamstring injury, and he returned to play for his club from April 27th. So we are going to put Sam Adekugbe in the recovered from injury category and hope that he is recovered, because there's two players who plays left back who are also injury problems. Let us talk about the first of those. That is Alphonso Davies. Normally a more attacking player for Canada, but under the new manager Jesse March playing as a left back, possibly because Adekugbe is out injured. Alphonso Davies was out with a torn muscle fiber in late January to mid-February. However, he recovered in time to play in the March games for Canada, so in the semi-final and final. Not the final, but the third place match. In that third place match, 12 minutes in, he went down injured. That was against the USA, and his club, Bayern Munich, was pretty annoyed about it. It turned out he had a cruciate ligament tear, and he remains out of action until now. In fact, he's not expected back until September 30th. So Jonathan David is out of contention. Not Jonathan David, Alphonso Davies, out of contention for this cup. Richard Larea, who also plays kind of as a left back when needed, is also an injury concern. He's out with a muscle tear since early March 2025 and remains injured up until this. We're recording this in May, and he has an unknown return date on him. So we don't know his status. We'll have to update it in part 2. And finally, we have Liam Miller, coded as a forward, but we put him as a left attacker. He is out with a cruciate ligament injury since way back in October 2024. So a long-term injury there. However, he is expected to return in May 2025, but that's getting close to the cup. So we're going to say that's a close call. but we could put him in the expected back category there too. Okay, now let's our closing thoughts. Well, for Canada and the top teams, we are wondering if the top teams will be sending their best. In fact, when we were watching that third place match against USA in March, we heard the commentators make a comment about teams not sending their best players to the tournament. We can understand that in the sense that Canada and USA and Mexico have played a tournament every summer since 2021. I mean, almost every summer they play a tournament. So it's no surprise that sometimes these teams send a B team to the tournament to give their players a rest once in a while. And that's what happened to Canada in 2023 Gold Cup. But we kind of thought that they would not do that this time because this is basically their last warm-up for the 2026 World Cup. USA, Canada, and Mexico have no qualifying campaign to kind of develop their team with, so we thought it would be this tournament. So we're not sure if the commentators will be right, but we hope teams will be using this opportunity to kind of hone their teams there. Okay, that is it. My closing thoughts. Let's do a preview for part two. So when the squad lists come out, we know the preliminary squad if they have one and the final squad. We will go through the list that we created here and let you know which ones made it and which ones didn't. We'll particularly focus on any notable non-selections and any surprise inclusions. And there's always a couple of new players who come out, so we'll let you know who they are. And we'll also do an update on injuries there. So there we have it. That is Canada for the 2025 Gold Cup, and we will see you for part two.